For more than 150 years, a really elite, all-male club has been gathering in a private redwood forest for a 2-week summer retreat. We're talking presidents, titans of industry, military leaders. They all go there to unwind and, as some people say, to kind of shape the world. So today, we are pulling back the curtain on one of America's most mysterious and powerful institutions, the Bohemian Grove. So, what really goes on when the most powerful men in the world get together in a forest? I mean, is it just a high-powered summer camp with fancy cabins? Or is something way more significant happening under the cover of those ancient trees? You know, the secrecy alone invites all kinds of speculation. And the truth? Well, it's this crazy mix of the bizarre, the political, and the truly powerful. And it all kicks off with this. Every July, deep in a forest in Northern California, a whole procession of guys in robes gather in front of a massive 40-foot concrete owl, and then they burn a human-like effigy. And look, this isn't some wild conspiracy theory. This is their real opening ceremony, and it just perfectly captures the strange blend of theatricality and raw power that defines this place. Okay, so let's start right there with that ceremony. Because to really get a handle on the Grove, you first have to understand its most famous and, most controversial ritual, the Cremation of Care. So this is basically the pageantry of it all. It's not just a bonfire, it is a full-blown theatrical production. For the members, it's the symbolic act of leaving all their worldly troubles, what they call dull care, outside the gates. The effigy gets put on an altar, and as it burns with all these pyrotechnics and music, a voice booms out from the giant owl statue. And get this, that voice was once provided by the legendary newsman Walter Cronkite. Yeah, that Walter Cronkite. It's like a psychological reset button for the global elite. But here's the thing that'll surprise you. This club of power brokers and billionaires, it did not start out this way. Not even close. Believe it or not, its origins were actually anti-establishment. Way back in 1872, it actually started as a hangout for struggling journalists, actors, and musicians in San Francisco. Their first summer get-together was just a send-off party for a member who was leaving town. But they loved it so much that it became an annual tradition. And eventually, they bought their own land to create a permanent escape, which has since grown into this sprawling 2,700-acre compound. And the transformation is just stark. The founders' original rules literally banned rich people and publishers. They called them the natural enemies of the muse. But today, the membership is a who's who of those exact people. So, how on earth did a club for broke artists become a playground for billionaires? Well, the answer comes down to this really clever ideological loophole. Early on, a member argued that, being a bohemian wasn't about being poor. No, it was about having a generous spirit and a wallet that was always open to your friends. This slick redefinition basically swung the doors wide open for wealthy patrons, and it completely changed the club's DNA forever. So when you get that much power all packed into one place, privacy becomes absolutely everything. So the club developed this really powerful set of symbols and stories to enforce total, absolute secrecy. Their official motto, which they pulled from Shakespeare, is, "Weaving spiders come not here." It's basically a command to leave all your business deals and your political scheming at the gate. But this is the great paradox of the Bohemian Grove. While the motto gives them this perfect cover of plausible deniability, history shows us it's a rule that is famously and pretty strategically broken all the time. And hey, if the motto wasn't enough, they also have a patron saint of secrecy. The story of St. John of Nepomuk is, it's a chillingly effective symbol. He was a priest who chose torture and death rather than reveal a secret told in confidence. There's a statue of him in the Grove, serving as this constant, quiet reminder, what happens here stays here. Period. All this secrecy fosters an incredibly tight-knit community. And from a sociological perspective, it's actually fascinating. See, the members are all divided into these smaller camps. And within those camps, the network density, which is just a measure of how connected everyone is, it gets really close to a perfect 1.0. And what that number, 1.0, means is you have a perfect clique. Every single person in that group knows every single other person. So this isn't just some loose get-together. It is a meticulously designed environment for building incredibly tight, overlapping networks among the most powerful people on the entire planet. So let's talk about what happens when those incredibly dense networks get activated. Because despite that whole no weaving spiders rule, the Grove has been the unofficial backdrop for some of the 20th century's most pivotal, history-making moments. Okay, maybe the most staggering example of the Grove's influence happened in 1942. The key figures who were planning the atomic bomb met right here. In this supposedly relaxed, no-business setting, the crucial momentum for the Manhattan Project was built, and J. Robert Oppenheimer was chosen to lead the whole thing. A world-altering decision basically incubated at a summer camp. The Grove has also played a huge role in shaping American politics. I mean, in 1967, two major rivals, Richard Nixon and Ronald Reagan, hammered out a private deal for the Republican presidential nomination. Reagan basically agreed to stand down, which cleared the path for Nixon. The future of the presidency was negotiated completely off the record, under the redwood trees.
And it's not all just informal backroom chats. They have these lakeside talks, which are formal policy briefings, and the list of speakers is just incredible. You've got presidents like Eisenhower, cabinet members like Robert F. Kennedy, Neil Armstrong, even directors of the CIA giving candid security briefings that are considered way too sensitive for the public to hear. It is an unparalleled forum for building elite consensus.
But in the modern era, that carefully constructed veil of secrecy has really started to fray. And it's all thanks to some pretty daring infiltrations and one massive, completely unprecedented leak. This right here shows you what happens when extreme secrecy meets the internet age. Back in 2000, both John Ronson and Alex Jones managed to sneak in and film the Cremation of Care ceremony. They saw the exact same thing, but their interpretations could not have been more different. Ronson saw a silly, overgrown frat party. Jones saw a satanic, globalist conspiracy. See, this is what secrecy does. It creates a vacuum, and people just rush to fill it with their own beliefs and their own fears. And then, the unthinkable happened. After decades and decades of rumors and speculation, a journalist named Daniel Boguslaw got his hands on the entire 2023 membership list and camp roster, and he published it. The curtain was well and truly ripped away. And the names on that list, well, they pretty much confirmed everything. You've got these titans of old-school politics and industry like Henry Kissinger and Charles Koch, media figures like Michael Bloomberg and even Conan O'Brien, and tech giants like former Google CEO Eric Schmidt. It was basically the entire American establishment, all mapped out by their camp assignment. But you know what? Maybe the most telling detail about the club's future was who wasn't on the list. The new titans of tech, we're talking Mark Zuckerberg, Elon Musk, Tim Cook, they were all conspicuously absent. And this suggests there might be a real split happening between the old guard of industrial and political power and the new guard of the digital age. And that leaves us with this final, really big question. For over a century, the Bohemian Grove was an absolutely unparalleled center of power. But in a world where influence is measured in algorithms and server farms, not just in oil barrels and boardrooms, is this secretive ritual in the woods still the center of the universe? Or is it slowly becoming a relic of a bygone era?